Hey there, Luke. It's looking like most of my videos might end up being video responses to you. I've got to say that I disagree wholeheartedly with the quote that he who loves less is in control. I mean, I'm sure this is true for people who are in horrible relationships, but for anyone in a good, stable relationship, it is clearly false. Love can be measured. I think if people actually stopped for a moment and thought about what causes them to love, another individual or why love is even a value to them, they might find themselves in extremely better relationships. But since most people act off of impulse and regard introspection as an action of mutilation, I can understand why quotes like this are born. Love is a response to values. I think I've already mentioned this in a prior video, and whenever I get around to making a video about love, I will undoubtedly mention it again. However, I'd like to make this as clear as possible. We all have a code of values in which we live by, aka morality. And when we meet other people who share a similar code of values, we respond more positively to those people. We find it much easier to work and relax with these kinds of people. Surprise, surprise, I know. Most people use their morality as a standard, or the standard, for which they obtain friends. Most people. However, they do not carry the same reasoning over into their romantic relationships. Most people tend to choose partners based solely upon superficial means, such as physical attractiveness, which then turns a relationship into a superficial relationship based off of nothing. And you will see after this, after these two people have gotten together because they both think each other are hot or whatever, you will see these two people trying to vie for power or vie for control. And what I mean by this, when I use the term vying for power, I mean trying to obtain the permission to simply do something that they desire, or in other words, do something that they would have been able to do if they weren't with their partner. However, you will never have this battle for control if your partner sees the importance of obtaining and maintaining values. You two will never have any conflicting interests. The only time you may see a problem is if your partner's interests include moving to Ireland and yours include moving to the United States. Then obviously one of you has to decide what is more important, the move or your partner. You evaluate it by which one would make you happier. It wouldn't be a sacrifice if you chose your partner over your move. You value your partner more than the move. A sacrifice would be if you didn't move and went with your partner even though the move would have made you happier. Sacrifice is when you trade a greater value for a lesser one. It's amazing for just laying on guilt, because then every day your partner would have to live with the fact that you sacrificed up something that would have made you happier and be like, oh crap, now I have to go spend the rest of my life with you in Ireland. And that's all sacrifice is good for, is making other people feel guilty. But if you and your partner did decide to break up because both of you valued the move over, your partner, the breakup wouldn't be horrible. You both understand that the move is more important to you than the other person. And since you both understood the importance of, obtaining that value, there wouldn't be any compromise. There never will be a compromise in this kind of relationship. A relationship based upon the foundation that obtaining and maintaining values is the most important thing a person can do. You mentioned that you are controlled by other people because they have things you want, and that this is okay. Though I know what you're saying, I wouldn't say you're being controlled by them. If someone has a piece of candy that I want to eat, and they say, if you take out my garbage right now, I'll give you this piece of candy, and I agree to do it, I'm not being controlled, I'm trading. I do so willingly underneath my own volitional judgment. I find the candy worth the price of taking out my friend's trash. My friend finds paying the labor worth the price of a piece of candy. Neither one of us is controlling the other. We are both in control of our own minds, making our own decisions. I have something she wants, which would be the labor, and she has something I want, which would be the candy. I think your analysis of women, for the most part, is pretty accurate. It is unfortunate that a large number of women think that abandoning intellect in pursuit of sex appeal is the best option for them. However, not all women are like this, and if you know where to look, you will find a community of strong, beautiful, ridiculously intelligent women. In fact, most of the people I admire are women. Then again, I do teach high school math and English, and this trend of glorifying sex and putting a stigmata on intellect is very much so apparent. But it isn't just with the girls. The boys are just as equally guilty. This has been a trend since I was in middle school, throughout high school, and most of college. Most of the people I've ever known over the years who hate people who are intelligent still haven't changed, and they still hate people who are intelligent. And it's unfortunate, but again, it's not the majority of the population. It's a huge chunk, don't get me wrong. However, if I were an upper division professor or a teacher at a private school, I think my exposure to men and women who are, more willing to learn, or who have a burning desire to become intelligent, would be slightly higher. Also, the media eats this image up of the dumb girl with major sex appeal. It's an easy product to sell to kids. The only unfortunate thing is that most children's education is so horrible that the child can't tell pure evil when they see it. So, children idolize these dolts as a consequence. You talk about physical attractiveness, and you're right. It's not as major a role as most people make it out to be. Like I've already stated, love is a response to values. So how big a role physical attractiveness plays into how attracted you are to an individual is decided by how much you value physical attractiveness. One reason why the mid-height, tan, skinny, not anorexic skinny, blonde slash brown-haired girl is considered the standard for attractiveness is because most guys and girls can find some physical attribute that they find attractive on that body, or in other words, she's totally average. And when you compare her physically one by one to other body types that are radically different, she will statistically be the most liked because she is the closest to everyone's preference. I'm not saying that one should strive to achieve this kind of look, because the people who actually care about this kind of stuff are generally not the people you want to spend time with. I'm just making a small analysis here. Everyone's physical preferences differs from some to one degree or another, depending on how important it is to that individual. Like if somebody likes short women and hates tall women, they're going to differ. But it is most definitely not the thing that relationships should be based upon, and it shouldn't be the thing that someone strives to attach value to. You should try to understand that physical attractiveness is like at the bottom of where your values should be in finding a partner, because obviously if your entire relationship is based off of just physical attractiveness, you're not going to have a long lasting relationship, and it certainly isn't going to be fulfilling at all.